Hello and everybody, welcome to the 5th episode of the Warchief Radio podcast. This episode we got a little bit of music going on in the background. I still haven't chose it out yet, but let's hope it's some lo-fi, good chill beats because we got someone who's really chill at the moment. Our guest tonight, or I say tonight, maybe it's fucking afternoon for you, but it's Jordan Brooks. Hello Jordan, how are you?
I'm doing great, Townsend. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing alright. We're just coming off of Asylum, where GVC retired. We're on that Saturday, so in terms of things, I've got a lot of things looking good for me at the moment. I mean, the detective stuff I thought was really good. On a band, I'm teaming with Boom. Like, there's a lot going on for me right now. How about you? What is going on for you?
Well, there's been a lot going on. Obviously in HXW, I just recently won Chase the Case, which was a big moment for me, a guaranteed world title shot at the very least. And it would be my first world title ever if I actually were to pick it up. So this is a big opportunity for me there, as well as my stable revolt of two of my best friends, Gerard and Braddock, or Louis, or whatever you choose to call him, which is something I really enjoy doing. Those are two guys I brought over from the PlayStation side, and I'm glad that we've got the reaction and made the impact we have. And then obviously over in Honorbound, I'm currently the openweight champion. And that's been my first singles title ever, actually. So it's one of those things.
You won it in a very good match, and that brought a lot of attention to that title. Like you see in wrestling how you have these massive, brilliant matches for like what people deem the minor title, and you see stuff like let's say for example Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon, just as an example, and like that dynamic of how good that match can be is great. Like when Seth Rollins and John Cena feuded for the United States title, prestige was added to it, and I think you holding that belt will only add more to it, because at the moment in All Around, I feel you are the best heel going into it. You're heel-wise, you are doing very good. And being the bigger heel holding that belt, I think it was only good for you.
Honestly, I think it was really ironic the way that the match played itself out, that I had kind of boasted being this Iron Man and having the stamina, and then as the match went on, I went from being so far behind to actually coming back and winning. It worked itself out pretty much perfectly for the whole kind of douchey, I'm a heel, so I'm just going to outsmart you and win, and that's pretty much how it went. And then as far as being, a heel and being the best heel, I appreciate the compliment, first of all. But another thing is just, I feel like it comes so naturally anymore. That's just what people expect of me. Everywhere I go, it's kind of a, reputation of being the bad guy, which I will accept, honestly, as a character. I love it. I personally love it. I feel like being able to go in and be the bad guy and kind of get over and have people recognize that you're so good at being bad is kind of impressive. And the fact that it's got me as far as it has really will always mean something to me.
I think you fall into a pocket of heels that we can really get behind your heel in character, and we're like, yes, this guy's a heel, and we can boo him. As well as we know behind the character you're a very nice guy, and like we sit down and have a chat. We're not thinking this guy's a prick from our outer character. Like last episode, I touched on how the outer. I think it was last episode, maybe even the Zack Sanchez episode, but I touched on how the outer character purviews of someone is influenced by the in character, and then their outer character viewpoints are pushed onto. Like it's both received. Like out of character impacts the in character, and in character impacts the out of character. But I think you're someone who does it very well to the point that people can be like, we know this is in character, we can get behind it, we can boo him, we can have fun with it, but we can also appreciate he's a genuinely nice guy behind the scenes.
Right, and I think that's something that I personally really push, is obviously on screen or in character, I want to be a real bad guy. I say some things, not necessarily horrible, but they're hurtful. Then, they might strike a nerve with some people. And like the feud I've been working with Tyson, specifically in HXW with the whole Defiant Revolt angle, I've said some things that are really touchy. I've definitely gone like really personal there, but like at the end of the day, we're really close, and he knows that I'd never actually, come at him like that, because I think of him as one of my best friends. And so being able to know that like when I promote or when I am saying something, the timeline about you as a character, I don't mean it as a person, because there are so many people who I work with who I genuinely like love and respect so much that like when I'm in character, I'll say these things and I almost feel bad saying them, but it's what I have to do because that's what my personality is. Because on screen,
we saw that very well in the detective video, didn't we?
Yeah, exactly, right? Like in the detective video, I called you fat, I called nobody, but at the end of the day, I really do respect the both of you. And I called Swift annoying, and I think Swift is a hell of. And it's things like that you really need to be careful of. Is like, as a character, sure, you want to be the bad guy, but you need to make sure that when you're not being that character, people know that you're not always the jackass that is presented on screen.
Exactly. They say I think people who take things in character and put them into out character beliefs is wrong, and I feel that people who have out of character viewpoints on someone affecting their in character work is wrong as well. I feel that people need to be mature enough to split it down the front and be like, all right, okay, this is heel, this is him being a heel, this is just a character, he's nice behind the scenes. Right. Because again, I say it with I've said it with the Zach Sanchez episode. I don't want to sound like a repeating record, but with the Courtney stuff I'm doing at the moment, there's a lot of people that have rubbed the wrong way of it, and there's been a lot of instances where people are friends do stuff to me out of character in terms of like a blackmail or some shit like that, right?
Right. Yeah, and it's sad because truthfully, the whole ordeal is kind of ridiculous in the first place. But I think that if you're gonna play, especially with the Courtney character, it's funny that you mentioned that because Courtney is kind of like this obnoxious child kind of character.
Exactly.
I guess that's how I describe it. And I feel like you played it so well that people almost got like annoyed or offended by it. But that's exactly what you want to do.
Well, like, I think it's only adding to it because at the moment when I talk in chats, people just ignore it. They're like, oh, this person just chat. And the whole character is, this is a child that wants attention and you're not giving it to her, so she's going to get more and more angry, right? And LGF is the prime position I'm doing it really well. And I feel people ignoring it even more and more and more is going to get so annoying. But like, there's a thing that I'm trying to promote that is like, when I lose, I don't actually lose. It's just a fake facade.
Yeah, it's some body double.
And I'll check right now on my phone if they've changed. I leave it at 2-0. Just
you,
as like
you lost twice, but you're still 2-0.
But the management have keep on changing it. Like they just see it one day and they change it, and it's annoyed them to the point of that they're forcibly changing it. I think it's pretty cool. Like,
well, and it's one of those things that you have to kind of rep regardless of the character. Like for Honor Bound. Again, I'm going back to it because it's the easiest example, but I had this whole Canadian shtick, right? Like the whole, I am from Canada, this makes me better. And truthfully, I don't believe that. I love Canada, and I'm so proud to be a Canadian out of character. That is true. I am genuinely a Canadian, and I genuinely love being Canadian. But I'd never go out of my way to be like, I'm the world's greatest. All the other ones are terrible, but in Honor Bound, that's what I had to do, and that's what kind of got me to the point I'm at, is just being this obnoxious, prideful Canadian.
I honestly think you and Richards would probably have a really good rivalry, because Richards is Canadian, and you're Canadian, and you can be like, I'm the better Canadian. I think that would be a very good rivalry. I don't know, who are you facing next? Isn't it? Is it not Richards, or is it they're having a match?
Week,
yeah, they're having a match.
This upcoming week, Richards is fighting somebody for a number 1 contender spot. Not gonna try and be biased, but I do kind of hope Richards wins because I've actually never got the chance to work a singles match with, and I think it would be a really good little rivalry to go back and even the Canadian thing is definitely a big part of it, but I think also Richards is one of those guys that just we get on well out of character as well, so it just kind of meshes easier when it comes to promos. At least personally, I find when you know somebody or when you get along with somebody out of character, your in character work tends to kind of pair with it in a way. So with Richards, I feel like it's almost like a natural chemistry, and he's gotten a lot more confident in his promos. I'm gonna give him a quick shout out.
Definitely,
I feel like
I agree.
I feel like his stuff at the beginning was really shaky, but as I've watched him in both HXW, Honor Bound, he's gotten so much more steady and confident with himself that I'm really proud of the growth he's made as a character, and I'm glad that good time Adam Richards is keeping rolling. So
hell yeah! To be honest, I will say this: as confidence grows within the community, your work tends to get better because you're more like, okay, I can say this and I feel safe. Like last week, the Talking Extreme I did yesterday, I don't think I could. Like a year ago, if you asked me to promo like I did, with the whole like jokey facade, I probably wouldn't be able to do it. I still can't redo it in Honor Bound. I can't take myself that seriously, I think, and then being like, I will beat you, and it's just difficult because you get guys like you get promoted very well, and you're like, big pat on the back for shouting on about and showing your passion. But like you're a British person at 2:00 in the morning, you can't really do it. So.
Well, and honestly, I think it's also a big thing from company to company. Not to put anyone down, because I love all of the companies I work for, but it's one of those things where each place you're different most of the time. So you've got to be very careful to like embody the character that you're playing where you are.
Well, yeah, I think I fit more with the detective gimmick because I'm just out of character. I like having jokes and shit. Like. Yeah,
exactly. It's fun to be goofy and kind of have ridiculous conversation, and like even just sitting in the call. When we were recording those segments for the detective segments, it was great listening to Dern and Swift just laugh at just how ridiculous and outlandish these segments were, and then like the whole calling me Tyson and putting over me being Tyson and then changing me to Mexican Adam Richards. It's all like really fun, and it's just one of those things that out of character as a joke would be funny, but it's even funnier when it's an angle on a show. So
honestly, I'll say this: the crude hands down absorbs most of the credit for this stuff. Like,
damn well.
Yeah, he's
you
really
did.
Good. And he's like, fuck Tyson, fuck crime. He's like that. It's really good. And like, with the Ragoni episode, it was his idea about him stealing the identity of a mascot. Right. That's why I let him talk more for it than I did. And like the whole hold me back, and I was like, I'm holding you back, and he just slaps his hands, and he's like, well, you hit me. He says, don't hold me back, and then it's just stuff like that. And that was all done on the fly. That was all done like we weren't even planning that, but it worked so well.
I mean, sometimes it's those on the fly weird moments that kind of catch on and can make or break.
Crude is a gem. Crude is a gem, hands down.
Yeah, he really is.
Like honestly, you said it to me in the DMs before. Like he's great. I'll say this. All I think he needs is a little bit of a confidence thing, because like he was scared coming into HSW. Like when he was DMing Boom about getting the core, he was scared in that situation. He was like, I don't know if I'm getting it wrong. But like as soon as his confidence grows, he's going to be the best, hands down.
Well, I think that's a lot of younger people in the community who have that issue as well. I'm not old. Like, well, I make it sound like I'm old. Out of character, I'm 19 years old, turning 20. But it's a lot of those like 16, 17 kids who like they worry about voice promos, they worry about handing their stuff in. It's like just a matter of adapting, and once you get used to it, I feel like it's such smooth sailing. Like I've watched Boom as well grow a lot, even since I've just met him in October.
Yeah, his promos have got a lot better. I will say, like back a year ago,
a lot better. Yeah. I don't want to take credit for that, but I feel like a lot of is just being able to come back to like our friend group and me specifically and talk about it and talk over the little things that he does well or doesn't do well.
Yeah,
and
feedback's really important. I mean, like recently with the whole situation that happened like a week ago, my feedback loop's gone. Like the person I went to Barrett for feedback, he's gone. Fuck that anyway. But the feedback was very grateful back then. It's like, okay, you stumble, you just say less is more, and I go, okay, then I feel I improve.
And then another thing for Boom, because we're on the topic, is even I think his commentating and streaming helps him a lot as far as confidence goes, because he gets that audience of 40 to 50 people 4 times a week, essentially. 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah, honestly, he deserves it, man. He honestly deserves it. When he came on the podcast last episode, he's a genuinely nice guy. Like, I don't talk to you guys as much. Like, I talk to you more now than I did, but like before the podcast was a thing, I rarely talk to you guys. But the more I talk to you, I see you guys have all got good hearts and that, and it's generally like a nice side of the community, like a nicer side to it than like what I've been used to per se.
Right, and I think is honestly one of the sweetest people in the community. Him and Nate West. I'm gonna cite him right now because he made me cry last night. But those are 2 guys who genuinely care so much, and like my whole friend group, I love them all, but just those 2 specifically, the amount they like genuinely care about people is so.
Yeah, I know Nate puts in a lot of work. He's doing a sim match with Bill Dern, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. And then he's got his show XWW, which is where I actually got started. He's got a pay-per-view coming out the 14th, and that'll be really good.
Let's take a quick minute to talk about that. How did you get into Core? And then I know you came from the PS4 side, so let's build.
Yes.
Let's talk about how you feel. Firstly, before you get into how you feel, and not how you feel, but how you started. One quick question for the people listening, and for me more than anything: what was the comparison between the PS4 side of the community and the Xbox side of the community? Is there many
It's
differences?
vividly
or
different.
vividly?
It's so vastly different. On the PlayStation side, I was more of a Sims Fed guy. I really wasn't into eFed. When I first got started in CAW, I did this little, like, it was like I wouldn't even call it CAW, a company with my friends where we created wrestlers, just kind of went with it, and ironically, that's where the Revolt name comes from. That was the company. And my friend Louie or Braddock had started it, and we streamed off the PlayStation. We didn't really promo. We could just kind of like talked in Discords and talk crap and whatnot. And that's where I got my start, quote unquote. But to actual CAW, my first company was XWW, which is Nate's company. And I got started because my friend Gerard or Jared Bowden, who you guys I was talking about earlier, came to Louie and I, and he was like, "Hey, Nate needs tag teams. You guys are gonna tag." And originally, it wasn't supposed to even be Braddock. It was supposed to be a different CAW of Louie's. And then we just had a chemistry when we were playing online with the two, and it stuck. And we came into XWW, and we were the longest reigning tag champs at 2 days. And that's where we first got our real start. And then we went over to AOW, which is another friend's company, there's highlight reel company that we're still in, and we do there. And then we ended up leaving XWW for a short period of time because Louis just wasn't feeling CAW like that. And I came back towards the end of last year, and that's when I was introduced to the Xbox side and the eFed world, and it's been an addiction almost ever since. I met Tyson, Boom, Nate. I knew Nate, but like Donald, all of them, and started to become close with them. That's what brought me over to the Xbox side. Originally, actually, I was only HXW. That was going to be the only company I did. Fun fact. But I had met with Liam Mercer over a stupid Twitter joke because Donald did the Mighty Morphin Phenomicos. And that's actually what introduced me to Honorbound. And from there on, obviously, the rest is history as I end up expanding far beyond where I ever expected to go. And now I'm openweight champion, I'm Chase the Case winner, and I'm still doing all my PlayStation stuff as well. So,
which is fair. I mean, how in terms of how different is it? Like, is it more serious on the PS4 side, or is it more goofy, or is it like?
I'd say it's more serious, but it's also a lot less interaction with people, at least as far as I've had. On the PlayStation side, it's like, okay, show's coming out soon. Go to the show, watch the show, talk to people there, see you next show. That's pretty much what it feels like. It almost feels more like a real job in a sense, where it's like you show up, you watch, you promo, you leave. It's not as interactive and of a community as far as I feel personally. Whereas over, I have a lot more opportunity to talk and meet with people and like kind of expand my friendships and where I go, what I see, just based off that. Obviously, without the PlayStation side, I wouldn't be on the Xbox side, so it's almost hypocritical to say that. But at the same time, I sit here now and it's like I talk to all of these guys I met through eFed almost on a daily basis. I'm in the HX.
I get that.
I'm in calls with Boom, Tyson, and all these people who I talk to like daily are originally from Xbox or only on Xbox, and I met that way. So it's really, I guess this side is a little bit more friendly, is the way, they welcomed me very much with open arms, and I feel like that gave me a lot better impression. So.
Well, yeah, like I will say on the Xbox side, more than anything, there is quite a lot of I feel I've talked more to people from CAW than I do my real life friends, and that's simply because I'm just not that type of person to go out and DM. And I with the whole COVID situation, I know if I was like in uni still, I wouldn't be giving as much attention to CAW as I have. Just like COVID's kept me inside, so what else is inside? Oh well, yeah, CAW, at home CAW. I can't go out and have like the party sessions that I'm used to. I still put my work in. I still did the Honorbound and I still did all that, but like. It's definitely
I feel like this whole situation definitely has brought me more into CAW. Like it's definitely invested me more and had me work a little bit harder and do a little bit more as I was in my last year of uni as well this year. And then obviously being at home and working from home, it got busy sometimes. But like now that that's done and there's still really not as many opportunities out there as I'd like there to be, it's still one of those things where like there's not much else to do and to focus on, so CAW has become a higher priority than it normally would be.
Yeah, I mean, with more people having more time on court, there is a lot more. I feel there is a lot more drama due to the COVID situation. You know, like
it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, people have got a lot more free time, so a lot more people get into shit.
There's been a lot more stupidity, I'd say, but there's also been a lot of really good content to come from it. I feel like as much as there's been a lot of downsides, there's been a lot of upsides as well. I feel like the way that people have been supporting and watching and consistently promoting has been really nice, because you don't always get that when the world gets busy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But
I think a lot of people have got like, let me just say this for a second, with the whole bits and stuff. I think people aren't spending that money in real life doing like what they would want to do, like holidays and all that. So they have that extra money, and especially with the US getting money from the government, and they're putting it into court. And it's like, for me seeing it, and what Boom got how many bits last night? Like,
oh man, Boom. I don't know the exact amount, but Boom got an unreal amount.
Yeah, an unreal amount. Honestly,
off the top of my head, got 36 subscribers last night.
Yeah, he made back, and he deserves it. Don't get me wrong, but Jesus.
Oh yeah, he does. But it's absolutely wild.
It's so nice to see all that. Like, I normally am not someone to buy anything for bits and all that. Like, I don't buy subscriptions, but I bought some recently just because of the COVID situation. I've got still some student finance and all that.
Yeah,
and I thought it'd just be nice. Like, Boom was like, we're two subs away from getting a new emote. So I was like, bang, you know, like
exactly. He's like, we're 2 subs away, and then you do 2, and then there was 10 more from Lulu, and 5 from Donald, 1 from me.
I beat everyone to it. I beat everyone to it. That emoji's mine. Mine.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You just want the dabbing Boom.
Yeah, I do, and I'm so ecstatic it's happening.
Yeah, actually, it's funny because we had a conversation about that last night after the stream, and Boom is thinking about getting somebody to like draw it, so it's like an animated drawing of Boom dabbing, and I'm like, yes. I don't even like dabbing, but just like, for the meme.
Here's the thing. I don't want to toot my own horn or anything with this, but like, there has been so many times in core I have just said something randomly, and people thought it was funny enough to do. Like the shed, that was just me going into Lexi's stream, going there like, you see those Sims? Make a small little room for them outside, call it a shed, and make them live in there. And the joke carried on. I was like, you know what? I want a shed, and it was put in the Discord, and I was like, holy shit, I got a shed. Then every Discord followed. You know, like I had one in HXW. I wasn't even like booked in HXW. I joined the Discord. I wasn't being booked or anything. I think I was just ready to have a match with Coach Dave. And then, I was in there and they just gave me a shed in there. The underground Discord had a shed. There was feds, there was Discords that I wasn't even in, or companies I wasn't even in, and they had Townsend sheds. Like, how mental was that? I was like, holy fuck. The Boom dabbing, I watched the stream, and I think I went into the stream thinking, like, I think...
It was you who started it, but it became this whole movement in the stream where everybody was arguing whether
it was either one or the other. Like, I think my thing was I got like somewhat not bored per se, but normally back then it wasn't even that long ago, but I was like the mentality of let me just watch my shit and do whatever I need. But then I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch more, and then this match was and I was like, you know, I'm gonna make him dab. So I made the jokes about him dabbing.
Right.
And I like
it was because he had just got the face cam, because Boom just recently, like a month or 2 ago, started doing the face cam, and you were like, oh, Boom, you got a dab now that you got a face.
Yeah, exactly.
And Boom was like, yeah, and I hate dabbing because of TJ Perkins, so the chat got like split in half, and it was oh, dab, don't dab, and Boom's like, I'm sorry, Brooks, and then dabbed, and I was like, oh my lord.
Well,
and ever since then,
honestly, like, if I don't want to toot my own horn or anything, but like, it's gonna sound like that, but if I didn't go into that stream and just say, you know what, fucking dab, that wouldn't be this whole dabbing craze.
Yeah, and now there's an emote in the Discord.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's become like almost a meme amongst HXW, the whole Boom dab and the anti-dabbing versus the dabbing community. It's really fun, and I love that something so absolutely like just dumb, like it is actually just dumb, is something that we can have fun with.
But it's also hit and miss, because like last night on the HXW, this was like, I don't know whose match it was during. I think it was Nicole's match or something, I was trying to get room to laugh because he giggled a little bit at one thing, and I was like, okay, now I'm gonna try.
You're trying to make him
laugh.
Yeah, you're trying to make him. Yeah.
And now back there, I look back at it, I sort of cringe. I was like, oh, I think I killed the Vicky Guerrero mud pit joke. And I was
but
like,
yeah, it's just stuff like that. It's really fun.
But it's hit and miss though, right? So sometimes it works over the most random shit. Like the Zach Sanchez is my best friend meme. Like, don't ask me how that started. I think we were legit in we were in a Discord call, or not a Discord call. We were in a COD game, and someone just starts talking shit as that, and I was like, you better back off my best friend, and it just worked. The stuff like that in core though, and I think this is more with the Xbox side and the whole thing about everyone being happy and like. What do you do when you find something funny? The thing you do is you share it, and I think that's how things get over in core a lot more.
That's how Tyson and I became brothers. Ironically enough.
Yeah, like if you find something funny enough and you share it with others, it's gonna get more over.
Because originally, when I first met Tyson, there was no relation, and we were very specific about that because we weren't very close. And then as time went on, and we started to get close, people started to make the joke that we were stepbrothers, and we made a joke that we were going to come and sweat it and become a tag team and call ourselves the Step Brothers. And eventually it just became these two are brothers. And we've just ran with it ever since. And we're so close now to a point where we'll do things and people will be like, you two are actually brothers. QC, I'm going to name drop him, wonderful guy. But he thought that Tyson and I were actual real life brothers. He was like, wait, you guys aren't in the same room right now? We were like, no. No.
I thought you were the same person.
Yeah, you thought I was Tyson for the longest time.
I generally thought Heel Brooks, the Twitch name, was just Tyson's like fucking side
alternate
Twitter
account. Yeah,
because I have How to Book and I like How to Book because that's a funny thing. That's the Sami Zayn joke because like it's Sami Zayn's Twitter. But like that was because at the time when I was streaming, I could have the stream on my Xbox running, but I couldn't see chat. And I couldn't log into my phone, into the Twitch account. So I made a new Twitch account just saying I like How to Book. And I'll say this: this was with Bill Dern and Preston and all that. I made it as if the I like How to Book account was not me, and they all fucking fell for it, and it was brilliant.
Yeah, but that's kind of been a joke now, is that Tyson and I are brothers, and then it became the whole idea of me being him for a while, and then the whole feud is happened and it started around Chase the Case in HXW, and we had that really, really good promo between the two of us right before Chase the Case, and people were like so shocked. They're like, wait, Jordan's older? Wait, you're not actually brothers? Wait, this is this? And it's like, oh, it's so great just to hear reaction. And
reactions are really good. I will say with more so with Honor Bound, having a good reaction to your promo is very good. And I say this because in Honor Bound it's a bit more serious. So when you're trying to promo and your promo is deemed good, you're good as a serious character and you feel it's very good, right? And you see people who get really good compliments and like, oh, you did really great, and then you see yourself and you're not getting it, and you're like, and then you're thinking to yourself, that promo was fucking shit. And then whereas in HXW, I feel I've promoted once live, and I felt it was easy. I thought it was so much easier, and I think that's just generally to the fact that I could be a goofy character and goofiness. Like, I don't want to act like I take myself seriously because I don't. But so when I'm doing like the promo of like, I'm the Warchief, give me a fucking shot. You guys have had your turn, it's my turn. It just doesn't work. And I don't want to go full goofy in Honor Bound. I want to try and stay that serious character because I feel it's just been building towards being a serious character for a long time. I know I want to do a little bit of goofiness, maybe in COH. I'll tell you this, I really want to do the Zach Sanchez best friend rivalry sort of thing in COH. Yeah. When I get up, that's probably one of the first things I want to do, and I'll try and pitch it to Lions and all this. But like, what I really want to do is like, there's gonna be, I'm gonna break kayfabe here and talk about the idea, but I want me to be like Zach Sanchez's bodyguard per se, just being there like, he's my best friend, you leave him alone. And everyone, Zach gives the subtle vibes like I'm just using him, and then it'll blow off at the end of like, I'm like, oh, you're just using me, huh? And then big fight.
To be fair, I think that very much so the difference in companies and how two companies can be so vastly different, but both work very, very well. Obviously, COH, HB, very well known, very good content, but they're so different. Whereas they kind of just like they give you what you're gonna do, and you make it work, and it works out very well if you can sort of work it. And it's really they sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss, obviously. But like I came in tagging with Prep, and I thought that's what I was going to be doing. I was a face, and then all of a sudden I wasn't Preppy. And I'll admit, at first I hated it. I absolutely despised it. But obviously it ended up working out for me in the long run. I think the heal character was very beneficial for me. And, you know, obviously I made it to where I am now. Whereas in HXW, it's planned. Like, it's so planned out. Because Boom has such a responsibility, he feels, to make such good stories that he likes to kind of lay it down and be like, we want to do this. And if you have an idea, if you go, we'll try and make it work. And obviously COH will too. I'm not going to say Lions won't, but Boom goes so far out of his way to try and make you feel like you have creative control.
Which you do. I mean, like, I gave him the fucking detective shit, like, an hour before the show? And he still
right.
ran it.
And all three of them aired, yeah. And that's
that was great. Like, I think with how long does it take me, you, Swift, and Dylan to record it? Like 10 minutes?
Yeah, maybe 10-15 minutes.
I think I can definitely do like 3 of those per show. And I know it'll get burnt out pretty quick. But like, I think if I can get people to come back and we build on certain, like, have little mini stories, like Tyson comes in and he's promoting about you, and then you can come in one day and just be like, listen, you're so, like, we will be really happy. Like, we'll have 2 build-up shows, build-up angles. It's like, we're really happy because cases are getting worked. It's like, oh, hell yeah, this is great. Happy days. And then the last one's just you coming back in. Listen, I just want to tell you how shit you are at your job. Fuck you. And then, like, we can start crying again, and it'd be like, God damn it. Like, my end goal, and I'll say this now, is I want Tone White in one. I want to get Tone in one.
Oh, that would be so great. Because I feel like, especially with the character Tone portrays in HXW, that would be really fun. Because Tone is this mentor to, like, these 3 young lions, and he's so serious and just wants to take all the goofy stuff away. He wants to make it PG, and just to present this whole character of literally just a goofy...
And we are the goofiest fucking people
in
ages.
These, like, goofy jackass detectives who are just like...
wrong.
We know what you did, and, like, start arguing with Tone, and Tone's like, why am I even... like, what? That would be fun, for sure.
Yeah. Tone's all up there. I don't know who else is on HXW and would do it. Like, my thing is, and I say this, and this is with the podcast as well, I don't like going out of my way to ask people to do things, because if they haven't come to me and said I'm interested in doing it, to me I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to ask them, you know, because they're not interested in doing it.
And I totally understand that, and I'm very similar to an extent, because like obviously, as I said, I'm not originally from PlayStation. Or not originally from Xbox, excuse me. I'm originally from PlayStation. So like when I first was like asked to come over, I was like, I can't make my own stuff, and I don't want to ask anybody like, hey, can you do this for me? Hey, can you do that for me?
Oh, I guarantee. By the way, hold on. Sorry to cut you off. I'm like that as well with the whole when we came on when Honorbound moved from 19 to 20. I had to wait till around Christmas time, so I was off university, so I could make my call, and I wouldn't allow anyone else to make my call, and Epps was very angry at that because he wanted me to do a storyline with him, and they were trying to get, and I think they were hinting to me to try and get someone else to make my call, like a Bill Dern or something. Right. But I really didn't want, like, Townsend's my thing. He's my creation. I don't like it when anyone else interferes with it. You know, I don't like it. Like if I gave Courtney out to someone, I don't like them editing her. Like, it's my shit. Don't fuck with it. You know. And that's why I get so annoyed when I hear stuff like, oh, this person downloaded my core, bumped my stats down just so I'd lose. I hate that. It's like, you leave it alone. If you're a Fed owner, they've given you a certain amount of trust for you to run it as a
and
whole.
it's a responsibility for you to be honest and, you know, run it the way it's supposed to go. But like for me, I had a lot of great friends who just told me, they were like, no, I'm gonna do it this way. Like Nate has helped me so immensely with all my stuff. Another shout out to him, because when I first started, I was like horrible with creating stuff. Like it was more so just something I do just to like kind of mess around with my friends. But like once I got into CAW, Nate was the one who helped me with my face texture. You know, Nate was the one who brought me over to Xbox and transferred my CAW. boom sat down with me and helped me make a move set. Like I knew what I wanted for this and that, and was like, okay, we'll use this here, but you want to change this. And it was like those guys who helped kind of lead me into where I'm at. Like obviously I had the final say on everything, but like it was really awesome that these guys were like, no, you are coming over because we're gonna help you. Don't just like not ask. And ever since it's just kind of, you know, worked, and I haven't had to do too much. But like even when small things come up that I need to change, or if like, oh, I want to make a new attire, like I hate the feeling of kind of being like, hey, do you mind? Because like I just want to be able to have my own independence and responsibility on my own. To be fair, I never have to do it because 9 times out of 10 I'll be like, hey Nate, do you wanna? And he'll be like, you have 4 attires ready. It's like, okay, because he's so fucking great. Like I love
if you're really into core and you get inspired to do it, like when I was in, I have on and off periods where I'm like, I want to be creative now and I want to not be creative now. Like if you look at Courtney's like attire posts, she's not had one for a while. Because I just haven't been inspired to make an attire, you know? Like, I just...
Yeah, and I totally understand that, because I 100% go... And I go through that, I feel like, as a general with Ka, where there'll be 1 week where I'm, like, really pumped up to get going. I'm like, yeah, I want a promo right now. Yeah, I want to, like, feed into the energy, and I want to be doing this, because I feel like I'm on top of the world. And then the next week, something will happen, whether it be like a character thing, whether it be a loss, whether it be just like me being in a bad mood, and I'll just be like, man, I really don't want to go to tonight, or I really don't want to do Talking Extreme. And it's like, it's such a small thing where it's just like, realistically, I shouldn't concern myself so much. But it can be something just like so minimal. It's like, man, I don't want to do it right now. I'll still do it and I'll still try, because I feel like it's owed to give the effort that, you know, these Fed owners give you. And I feel like that's something. I feel like that's something that personally, and I don't mean to call a bunch of people out, but a lot of people just don't do, is put in enough effort. And it bothers me because
so this when people take put, like so much time into you and you're not.
Yeah, exactly. When you see these people take the time and put in so much effort, the least you can do is put a tweet out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it works both ways though. Like there's sometimes you put so much effort into a federation and you're like,
and they don't give it back to you 100%. It goes both ways, and I totally agree with that. It just sucks to me when I see, like, I'm not gonna like name names or name feds because I think it happens all over the place. But like to me, the worst is when somebody works so hard on something, and then like the people who are a part of it don't give back that like same effort when it happens. And it sucks because I've seen it so much, so disheartening to know that somebody put their all into a project to have one of the 4 people who were part of the project actually give a shit.
I mean, I've been quite lucky because, for example, 2 of my biggest things that I'm putting effort into right now is the detective work and the podcast, right? And I think they're both well received. There's definitely times where I put like my all into something and people just don't even care.
Right, and I feel like that's the worst. Is like, obviously, I haven't done, like, I don't own a Fed, and I don't have anything, like, huge that I'm running. But, like, for me, personally, one of my biggest things that I don't like is when I feel helpless in a story or in a situation. When I feel like I'm putting in all this effort and the person I'm against or the people I'm against don't care. That always feels like it's like, man, why do I even try? You know?
I've been quite lucky. I'll say with BWO, I was like, the world champion was Matt Baker, and he was not even there, and he didn't watch, and he didn't give he didn't promo for it. Mm-hmm. And he was the world champion. I was thinking, I'm doing all the work for him to be in the championship spot, because I'm pretty sure he lost the title, and because I promoted him so much, he got another rematch. You know?
Right, and that's the thing, right? And like, I haven't had too many situations like that, but like, to me, it sucks when things like that come. Like, it feels like people want you to do so much, and people expect so much out of you, but then when it comes to others, they kind of get that pass if they don't quite as hard, and it sucks. And I'm not going to sit here and say like I'm the hardest worker, because I don't believe I am. I never would say that, but like, it's just one of those things where I feel like a lot of people kind of skate away on reputation, and are willing to just kind of be here because they can be here. And I wish more people would put that step forward to be
just better. Show initiative, innit?
Yeah, exactly. Because I'll be the first to admit it. I hardly ever walk away from and go, yo, I did really well that promo. I'll nitpick a small thing. Maybe I forgot a word. maybe I messed up on this sentence. Maybe I could have delivered the punchline better. But like, there are a few promos I can walk away satisfied. Like, the one that sticks out to me is, again, that Chase the Case one with Tyson. Like, that was the first promo I've done in a long time where I sat there and I was like, I couldn't have done any better on it. I couldn't have done it better. Because so often, I go and I do these shows and I cut a promo, like, on hard mic, and after hard mic, Lions or Tone be like, that was really good. And I'll be like, was it? Like, what was it, though? Like, I appreciate it. But I feel like I can do so much better.
Well, I mean, I think you get this naturally. I think, like, it's a natural thing for you, and you can promo very well. Like, you remind me a lot of a Sami Zayn promo, and I don't know if that's just because you're Canadian, but, like, you sound confident when you talk, you sound like you believe what you say, and that's to be, like, I'll say that's the two biggest things I preach to people when they're doing promos. Like, don't sound like you're just reading off a sheet.
I never
in
write
what
my
you're
promos.
saying. Yeah, but, like,
That's
believe in what you're saying.
I never write them because I feel like, especially when it comes to like face-to-face confrontations, like you know, when you're talking to someone, you can't really prepare for what somebody else is going to say to you.
I have some lines written up before promos, just like for like what I want to use. Like,
Right.
You're all people playing with toy swords, and I'm the one with the gun. Like, that's sort of line. That was Zoe Zombie's line, by the way. We had a good long talk about promos, and she gave me some lines. But yeah.
And another thing is, for me, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I actually went to school for broadcasting, right? So, like, I did radio. I helped run a radio station for a year. So when I go on the mic, I try and treat it like, you know, I'm talking to an audience. It's important that you can project. It's important that you can get the points that you need to get across. Like, if you're trying to a certain date and a certain time, make sure you punch it in there. You know, if this, like, hypothetically speaking, let's say this podcast was coming out Saturday to when I promote, say Saturday at 10 o'clock at least twice, or aim to say it at least twice, because I want people to hear. And
yeah, you're right. You just cut out, but I understand what you mean. Like, if you have an idea of schedule time, you want to push for it to be at this time.
Yeah,
you want to, like,
you
tell
want to
everyone.
push across the idea of what you're saying.
Definitely, I think I go overboard, especially with the CAC stuff and all this, that, and other. I was like, "What's this fucking show?" And I had like 10 fucking tweets about the link.
I'll tell you this though. You went overboard, but never once did I not have the link. Never once. It was always on my timeline.
Exactly. I know. I know. It's then like, oh, this is annoying me. That because I remember saying, you know what you guys should do? You should watch the podcast. And like, just a Discord call randomly, and the guy said, the more you say it, makes me not want to watch it. And I'm like, right, okay. And then you think to yourself, have I said it a bit too much to people that are not going to watch it anymore? And then you second guess it. You're like, oh shit, have I fucked it just by talking too much? And stuff like that, right? But yeah, then it brings me on to this second point. If you are someone, and this person who said, I'm not going to watch it because I'm going overboard, he's not one of them people, just because I think you know who he is if he is listening. But like, here's one other thing, right? And you touched upon it about if you want to give effort, if you're giving a lot of effort into someone, you expect some sort of respect back. I will say this: my DMs for people wanting to be on the show is quite full. There's a lot of people asking to come on it, but I don't think any of them asking to come on it are listening to any other of the podcasts. I think they just see, okay, this is a chance for me to talk for an hour and a half, and I don't care about anything else. So if you aren't, like, I don't want to seem like a fucking prick when I say it, but if you aren't supporting me, I'm not going to support you with it, you know? Like, I'm just going to be like, okay, like, there's going to be things now where we have to start, like, quizzing people, like, what was the main thing we talked about in the Jordan Brooks episode? And then if they don't get it right, then I'm just be like, yeah.
Hey, I've tried my best to watch. I mean, you've had a lot of my close friends on here, so I've watched just for the sake of seeing if I can learn anything new. You had probably my closest friend in the community in Preppy on the second episode. So that was like an instant watch for me, right?
Well, I know, like, coming off of that, that's sort of like a prick thing to say when we've only had 5 episodes and it's relatively new and people are still finding time to watch it. But like, there is people who like genuinely have no clue about who's been on, what's been said, or like just genuinely like don't even know that I was actually podcasting. Like, I bet if I asked them how many episodes have I done, they would probably be like 2, and whereas I've done 4.
Right.
But like,
I mean, some people just like to hear their own voice. I
oh
truly
yeah,
believe.
definitely. But yeah, that's just a bit of a rant. Quickly, don't ask to come on here if you're not watching it. Like, what's the fucking point? Like, if you like, don't come into my DMs and be like, yeah, I want to be on the show. I want to be on the show. And
To
just
be fair,
really-
I feel like that relates exactly to what I said though, because it's kind of like the same thing with a Fed. Don't
Yeah.
ask to be in a Fed. If
Don't
you're not
ask.
gonna fucking
Yeah.
know,
Well, there's
you know?
people I know, right, who have been like, I want to get pushed to the world title, but I don't want to put any of that work that you want me in. That happened in CAC. Someone legit said, I want to be pushed to the world title, but I don't want to put any of the work in. And I was prepared to do a lot for this person. I was like, right, what we're gonna do is you're gonna be like my secretary, because I'm GM. You're gonna be my secretary for this GM, and you're gonna like fucking be an asshole. But it's gonna be like the case of like behind my back, you're making out as if I'm a fucking prick, and you're like, oh, he's a fucking idiot. We're gonna just do all this, that, and other with him, and then. I was getting him ready for the spot because he was like having that rivalry to be like make fun of Port, because I was pretty much a face in CSC, I'm pretty sure. Like, we had him in a role where he would have just been using me and it's blatant, and then people were like, oh, he's blatantly using Townsend, and he'd be getting these opportunities, but he wasn't willing to put any work in. So I was just like, what the fuck? Like,
Right.
honestly, dude, like, you can't ask for like, yeah, I want the world title shots and all that, and not want to put in the work. I find that fucking disrespectful as shit.
And I find a lot of people do that because they expect, because of whether it be name value or reputation, just because they think they're great, they expect to be handed things. And I don't get it.
Well,
Because personally, I feel like if I'm not doing it like myself, like if I haven't earned it, if my work isn't good enough to be there, I don't want to be there. And that's how I take it.
Well, I mean, there's been time like there is times where I come in and be like, and this isn't with Townsend, this is more with Courtney again. But there's times I come in, I'm like, right, where's my world title shot? Give it, please. I want it right now. And they're like, but you only been here like 5 seconds. Like, I don't fucking care. I'm that good anyway. Give me that fucking title
but that's
shot.
also a character, right?
Yeah, that is the character.
That's also,
and, just before he goes, you're a fucking hypocrite for saying that on the podcast when you're doing it with Courtney. It's like, that's a fucking character. Leave it alone. Because like,
and that's the thing, right? Is if you're a character who's supposed to do that, do that. Like I'll use my HXW run again. It's almost redundant, but it's the truth. I came in my first match, I beat the world champion. So my first promo was, "Where's my world title shot?" Because I beat the world champion.
I too beat the world champion. I don't know if it was on my debut or my build-up for my debut, but I beat Coach in the Hellzone match when he was world champion, and I was like, "Where's that title shot? Where is it?"
Detective Townsend for world champion.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna interview fucking Michael Boom about when we do the interrogation. Michael Boom, where's my damn title shot? Where is it?
I'm all for it.
Yeah, well,
Hashtag Townsend versus Huey, get it over.
Yeah, Townsend versus Huey. I'll beat his ass like Ryan Nelson did. Oh, it's jokes. It's jokes. I'm sorry, but like, I will say this. Huey's actually pretty good. Like, he's very cool out of character, and you can get behind him. In character, I'm like, the more I watch him, the more I'm like appreciating what he's doing. And yeah, he's generally he's been nothing but, well, when he was in Even Flow, it was the BWO versus Even Flow shit. I thought he was a bit of a prick, but then, you know, coming out of it, like, just another point. When I say mature people don't come off as like out of character, and if they're in character doing something, and then you have a perception of them out of character, I think a lot of the Even Flow shit that went on, I think, was like, I be promoting in character, and then they got generally heated at me out of character from the word go, and then started working on me. And I know they'll fucking say they weren't, but there's been a lot, like, there's a lot of cases.
I think that's why it's important to know people as people, not just characters.
Exactly.
Because,
exactly.
like, everything I say, I don't feel like there's anybody that I've pronounced in a long time that has, after the promo, been like, wow, you're a dick. Because after the promo, even before, I'll let them know, like, I'm not attacking you as a person. This is a character. And that's what it should be, right? This isn't an argument between two actual people. This is Jordan Brooks as a character, not Jordan Brooks as the human being behind the computer screen.
Which is an important message I think everyone should learn, because at the moment there's just too much of this whole, oh, you're making me feel upset because you're saying that I can't promo, and it's like you're not putting any effort into your promo. Like, I'll say it, like, if I feel that you're not putting effort into me when you're trying to promo me and all that shit, I won't have as much respect for you as I normally do. Like, I'll just be like, fuck you, you can't promo, go away. Just because, like, there's different levels of, like, respect and effort that I feel are in, like, a thing. Like, if you, like, I think you should treat every promo as if it's against someone that you highly respect and deem, because then you're just going to work harder. Like, there's so much times where people just like, oh, fuck this dude, I'm above him, I'll just give him, like, 5 words and move on. And it's like, like, let's say you're someone big in the community and you're not giving that respect to that guy just starting. You're burying him for no fucking reason. You treat everyone as the same level of threat or respect. Any of that, you treat him as somewhat of a level of respect. You can say you've only been here 5 minutes, go away, but not so much to go away, but just sort of sell that he's a guy here who's worked his ass to get there, and you can somewhat promote. But it's like, I don't even know who this isn't a direct dig at you for what you said to Crude, but because that was planned and all that shit. Like, we planned that shit,
Right. Yeah.
But, like, there's times where I see someone trying to promo this big guy in the community, and they're just like, who the fuck are you? Get out of my fucking way. And it's like, bro, that guy's just being buried now because you've got such high credibility. You just told this guy to go away, and he's what is there left to say? You can't go, no, I'm not going to go away. You're scared of me. You can't, because this guy's reputation-wise, I think you have to, like, you have to bring people up to your level. If you're up there, you know, like, for me, if I, like, let's say I promote APH. APH is the next big thing. I will carry on saying that. Like, he is the next big thing. As long as he doesn't fuck up out of character and all that shit, I think he's going to be, like, the biggest thing going in core in, like, a year's time. Guarantee. He puts so much work into it. Like, I'm begging him to try and join HXW and all these other shows, right? Because he's so fucking good, right? And, like, he genuinely reminds me a lot of Eddie. Eddie out of character, yes, Eddie's so cool to be around, but Eddie's very grateful for Eddie. Like, he is. Eddie's very grateful, and so is APH. You offer APH a bone, he says, "Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm going to try and do my best."
And I feel like that's important, but I also feel like that works for promos as well. What you just said is the whole idea of giving someone a bone or giving someone something to work with, because one thing I really can't stand is when you're promoting against somebody and they make themselves sound invincible.
Or
like
they
in my
nitpick little things and bring up history. Like, there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, like, there's so much things that work both ways." Like, if you say a blatant thing like, but if I go out and say something like, "You couldn't beat me here" or some shit like that, or I say, "Oh, you're crap," or "You're shit at doing this," then they'll come out and be like, "Oh, you say I'm shit," but hang on, let me get my mind around it, because there's a point I'm trying to make, but. For example, for promo sense, if you're trying to not fight someone and they're trying to fight you, you either say you're not worth my time, but then they fire back with you're scared, you know?
Right.
There's a lot of that, and there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, don't use shit on me that happened, like, 2 months ago, because that's old news. Don't, like, why are you using this match that you beat me?" Like, someone can be like, "You beat me 2 months ago, why are you bringing it up in promos? It's 2 months ago, it doesn't matter." Right?
Because it's still relevant.
Yeah,
100%.
but then they're the same person who would bring up, "Well, guess what? I beat the world champion in 2009." And shit like that.
I promise you. Here's the thing. I promise you that if I ever feud Tyson in HXW, I will bring up Chase the Case, because I won Chase the Case and he didn't. My whole thing is I am the better Brooks there. That is the whole argument. So if I ever have to feud him, first thing is the one time we fought, and it was a singles ordeal, I won. And I feel like it's important to give people stuff to work, because a lot of people promo, and they only promo for themselves. Like, they'll yell and they'll scream and they'll get emotional, but they'll never give the other person their, like, content, you know? They'll never have them have something to work off.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like all my promos have something that you can take, and if you're promoting against me, fire it back my way.
Promos are difficult, so I can't necessarily say I do that, because I can't, like, think back to a promo where I've had a one-on-one with someone, because normally with me, I'm quite lucky in the sense they just, like, let me promo my shit and let me go, like...
Right.
Crazy J, when I was promoting him, he's very difficult to throw a bone for you, because it's always like, I think, like, here's the thing with me and him. I knew he'd always say the fact that he carried, bring in facts and all that shit. But like, if I was just there, like, blatantly like, I carried you and leave it that, the whole essence is you can't carry. Like, if I say I carry Jay and Jay says he carries me, that's a funny thing about how they're out if chose first. But like, there's people that will like, I beat you because look at me, I got 5 of the wins. I got 5 of the pins in 6 matches. And it's like, bro, shh, that doesn't work for anybody. Just, actually, no, it did work. It did work because that was his character. I say his character. That's his perception that people have behind him. He's like, he'll bring up facts and shit, right? So like me, I think me being I was allowed to be a bit more funny with the Crazy J stuff, so I could be like, I carried you, and it's like, what facts? The fact is, I'm just better than you, and like shit like that. Just building off that, just comedy-wise, I think I'm really good at. Like,
yeah.
But it's difficult to be serious and give off bones and stuff. Like, if you saw with the promo I did with HXW yesterday, there was a lot of things someone could come in and just jump on me at. Like, I was waiting for, I was trying to bait someone to come at me because I really wanted to do it. But
I think Nicole was going. I think she almost did.
Yeah, damn! I should have worked more on the whole fact she stole my gimmick. But yeah, like I wanted to work more on that vibe because being a comedy act, I think, is very easy because it's not that you can no sell what they say, but you can like take what they say and just like be a bit more ridiculous, and they're just there like, I can't promo this. Well, it's not even that I'm stopping them. Yeah.
Look at Coach. How do you promo Coach? How do you do it? Like, you say your piece, and then Coach comes in and he's like, I shit my pants, and it's like, what do you
It's difficult to promo that. Like, I think like that's just the thing though with comedy characters. I think it's just very difficult to promo, and I don't want to make it as if
here's the thing is, it's over. Everybody loves Coach. I mean, I just don't know how I'd promo because he's such a oddball that it's hard to like.
Yeah.
Even say anything about him.
Oh, I didn't even know what this conversation's turned into about the whole like faces and comedy acts and shit. Like I've been a comedy act for how long? Like a month? Not a month. Like 2 weeks, and all of a sudden I'm a pro at it. Like I don't know. It's difficult to promo him. Like I'll definitely give you that. And I think like with my comedy character, I'm gonna try and make it easy to promo me. Like, you lost your match. Yeah, I did, but I'm a detective. That'll be my thing.
The thing about your character, though, is that it's a comedy character, but it's such like a unique, weird kind of character that it's so easy to find things to make fun of. Because you could straight up walk in and bury me, and I'd still make fun of you because you're a detective. Like,
yeah.
Crude wrestles in a suit. You know what I mean?
By the way, the reason I wear suit pants, I'm gonna try so hard to try and get a fucking entrance, because that entrance is so over. That's what made the detectives the detectives, the entrance. That's what made us want to, like, I put the entrance on Twitter and everyone loved it. I wanted to try and get that in HXW. Like, the entrance is just so good. If we go heel with heelish with the detectives, I will put the full entrance for every one of my interviews and segments, so everyone has to watch that. God, imagine.
I would absolutely love that.
Like, you'd have to watch the entrance. You'd have to watch the entrance before we do. Like, the entrance would be longer than the actual fucking segment, but you'd have to watch it. And it'd be like, oh, I don't know. There's a lot I'd be thinking about that. Like, I don't know. I was thinking. You know how we had the Brooklyn Nine-Nine theme, right?
Yes.
And I wanted to do like a mini, like, you know how they do their intro. I wanted to do that with Crude and I. Mm-hmm. So like, Crude, it was cut an entrance with Crude. He does a little bit of the entrance, and then where we end the clip, I'd ask Crude to like make that guy stand out and make everything else look like, you know how they do in the startup things. It's someone doing something.
Oh, the cold opens, yeah.
Well, not the cold opens. The theme and the introduce the show. Like, you know, right. Friends is just the song. Like, I mean, in the song where it's like they're doing some funny action, and then like it stops, and then they're brought out of the image per se, and then like the rest of it's turned into a different color. I wanted that, so it'd be like me. I'd be on like with big old hey. Then we get like a picture of like my thing is I wanted everyone but Crew to be on the entrance feed. Like, and then the next one would be Zach Sanchez, and it'd be like my best friend. Like we'd have like little comments underneath for what he is. Like,
their best friend. My
best friend. And then it'd be like a picture of you, and it'd be Adam Richards, the Mexican. and then like I don't know, we'd get like a picture of Boom dabbing. I don't know if that clip's still on Twitch and if I can save it and try and
It
edit
is.
it.
Yeah,
But
if
like,
it's not on Twitch, I'm pretty sure somebody has it.
but yeah,
It's made its.
but yeah, just making like when he dabs, we stop him. He goes, "This guy ... he dabs," and then we'll see how he can do.
I don't even know his name, but he's dabbing.
Yeah, I'll say this: when getting into Agents of It, I didn't realize the difference between MG and Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was like, "I dare you to come on Hate Talking Extreme." I said, "I will, green hair looking ass." It wasn't even him that was talking; it was MG. So I was just like, "What do I comment about MG?"
Green hair looking ass.
MG, oh, I love that. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can try and make that entrance thing, but like, I don't know how else we'd do it. I think we'll just have like a picture of I would like Tone on it, and like just Tone to be on the credits, even though he's never been in one in his life. This guy, the big bad evil, Tone White, the evil. Like he's like the leader of Team Rocket.
His caption is just villain. That is the caption.
Yeah, villain.
It's villain.
And then like I get a picture of what's the Russian young lion go?
Oh, I can't even pronounce that
Vadim,
name. It's like
is it Vadim or
something like that. Yeah.
I'll just like spam the keyboard for his name, and I'll put under it's like
all of the accented letters down there.
Yeah, I'll just like spam the keyboard, and then it'll come up, and it'll be like,
He's from Russia.
no, this guy's nose is fucked, because his nose is fucked. I remember saying it. I was like, this guy's nose looks fucking weird, bro. And everyone had to go at my nose, like. My nose ain't nothing, but compared to that guy's nose, and I'll just be like that. I think there's so much potential. Like that's the intro I was planning. Like, it's difficult to push for like an intro like that, because I don't know. I think it'd just be funny. I mean, I think we lost a lot of people on the whole talking about the way people promo and shit. Like that was just a circle. I don't know. I'm difficult. It's a Saturday morning, guys, and I haven't had my cup of tea, so. I mean, difficult to form a point, and I'm sorry, Brooks, but yeah, my brain's going on 101 things, and
Oh, you're fine.
but yeah. So yeah, again, about with the detectives, I don't want to talk all about the detectives. So you'll have to tell me to shut the fuck up and talk about Defiant for a little bit or something. But
well, considering I'm not part of Defiant, I'd probably prefer Revolt.
Defiant versus
but,
Revolt, yeah. Because weren't you a part of Defiant, or were you never a part of Defiant?
No, I was never part of Defiant. I've always been on Adrenaline. So
it was the other Brooks who was in Defiant.
Yeah.
I'm just
Tyson
gonna
runs.
I'm gonna act like that was my fucking character and not me just being an idiot.
Yeah, no, Tyson's the one who's been doing
Yeah,
Defiant, and he's had pretty much his run there. I've really enjoyed Defiant though. I think it's been a good little stable.
It's weird to me because a lot of the stables that are happening at the moment, and I see like, I don't want to try and throw shade, but like, there's the Defiant and like Dark Reflection. It really feels like they're burying everyone else by being like, we're just the best things on the show and we're just banding together and fuck you, you know, like Donald. I love Donald, and he's like going on in LGF saying he's a god, and it's like, bro, if he like, you can't. I don't know if I can promo that. I just say you aren't a god. He was like, shut the fuck up.
It's both easy and hard, because the way I approach it, when it comes to stuff like that, is like, if you're a god, you'd figure you'd never lose, right? Because of the whole ideal of it. But he takes a lot of like backing to be this quote unquote god. So like the whole way to paint it is that he's not really a god because he's standing behind all these other.
Yeah, well,
and a god would like lead, right?
There is storylines coming, but I don't want to hint to them yet on podcast. I'll probably tell you after, because that's
perfect.
that, but like I don't want to spoil it away. Maybe
honestly, to get a little bit more back on track, my whole idea of Kaw is like, as much as I want to be taken seriously, and the reason that this podcast has went the direction it did is because truly, like, the end goal is just to enjoy myself, right? Like, I do these little things that are meant to be fun and to be goofy and aren't gonna be like over anywhere or even used. Like a while back, my friends and I created BDE t-shirts for Big Dick Energy, and we made like a whole like attire and like entrance, and we did like the New Day entrance to "I Just Had Sex" by Lone.
Yeah.
By Lone Moon. Yeah, and that was like a gimmick, and it got super over on Twitter, and people were like, "Yo, we want to bring you in, and we want to use this," and it was literally just a joke between my friends and I, because big dick energy, why not? And it just got super over. Or right now, the big meme is apparently I'm going out with Amber Reed. I don't know when this started, but like it just became this big old joke.
She's
and now
Eddie Reed, Mr. Blackson, isn't she?
Yeah, she's married to Blackson. That's the thing. But for some reason, all over Twitter, if you go look, there's just so much jokes about me and Reed together. And at this at first, it was where I was like, "Oh man, this is getting really annoying." But now it's at a point where I've just kind of embraced the meme, and I'm starting to just go along with it. And like, I'm not dating Reed. I know Baker out of character. He's a really good guy. But like, the whole thing is just such a good meme at this point that like I've started to give Baker my logos, and I was like, "Hey, make an attire out of this." Let's
what I will say about Baker, like, Amber Reed, yes, like honestly, if I was booking like a course show, I would want her on it. Amber Reed is of course very nice. I mean, she said saying something like she wanted to talk to me more and get to know me more, which is like, my DMs are always open. You can always be the first one to send it. 'Cause I know everyone feels awkward saying the first message, but I feel doubly awkward. But yeah, I'll be more than happy to talk to Amber Reed and whatnot. But I remember talking about first impressions, like Derek Baker when he first started, and I know I should like when I talked about the TCW stuff before in like episode 1. I feel he was just going through that stage, and I feel I should have given him a little bit more slack, because he was just there like he was legit just saying stay tranquilo and just sending like Naito gifs, and I just thought I thought, oh, this guy sucks, oh my god. But I feel I should have given him a lot more chance, because I realized he was just going through the same situation that I was going through, like normalizing core and getting used to it.
And I feel like as a character, it takes a lot of time to develop, and I think that's just a stage that they were going through. And I think everybody goes through a stage where they just kind of don't know their direction, quite honestly.
Exactly. Yeah, everyone goes through it, and I feel I should have been a bit more nicer to him.
And honestly, I think personally that they found their stride as like Amber more than they did Derek, at least personally. I think that's where they found their comfortable spot. I think Derek worked, but I think
you can definitely argue it. I mean, there's people who argue my best shits with fucking Courtney. I hope not.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's funny because people, a lot of times their best stuff is stuff that they don't anticipate to become their best thing. Yeah, like even the whole Revolt angle in HXW, when I first introduced Louie and Jim, I knew nobody would know who they are. Like, I came into the angle and I said, there's a chance that this gets absolutely no reaction. There's a chance that this falls flat on its face and nobody will ever give a shit about this stable.
Same thing about the detectives. When I put that fucking video up of the entrance, I thought, oh, this is just going to be like, okay, and it got really, everyone loved it. It was great.
I'm going to give credit where credit is due. BGW recorded the scene, like that was on him. He made it, like the whole attack where I revealed myself to be the BGW.
Brandon, he was in Honor Band, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's also in HXW.
He's brilliant. He's brilliant.
He is brilliant. His editing work, so good. Shout out to him.
The Pussy Stank stuff and all that shit in Honor Band was, I think, brilliant, honestly.
Yeah, and so he edited the scene where I revealed myself to be the fake BGW, and then out came Louie and Jared. We attacked Eminence, and we officially formed as a stable. And the scene definitely helped a lot. But after we came to Talking Extreme and officially started talking and becoming this stable, everybody got behind us as a heel stable so quick. Sure, we weren't getting the same attention Defiant was getting in promos, and sure, we weren't ultimately hated by everybody, but man, was it so cool to me that I brought in these two guys that nobody knew, and everybody was like, this is good. These guys are good. Put them over. That's what happened. And yeah, we get booed. And yeah, people don't like us, but that's the goal. We're a heel stable. So the fact that we came in and just with one segment got ourselves to a point where people booed me when I came out to promo the next week, that's a win in my books.
Hell yeah. It's great. I agree. Well, moving on, I know we can't talk forever about this because otherwise, what's the point of an episode 2? Because I definitely want an episode 2 of you. That's definitely one of the things I want. First thing I'd like to talk about, we both have a mutual interest outside of core, and that is TEW. For those of you who don't know what TEW is, it's a Total Extreme Wrestling, which is a booking game that you can get for around 30 quid, isn't it? 30 quid?
Yeah, it's like 30, 35 bucks.
On your computer, you can get
every penny.
And you can download mods, and you can book from different time zones. Like you can book the Attitude Era, you can book the Ruthless Aggression Era. You can book all this, that, and other. You can book as Ring of Honor. You can book as TNA. You can book as AEW. I don't know why you'd ever do that to yourself, but you can.
Oh, come on, Townsend. Low blow.
God, fuck hell. Like, okay, I will say this about AEW. I hate them to begin with because all they were just, haha, fuck Vince. Fuck Vince McMahon. Fuck WWE. That was all they were, and I didn't find that interesting at all. But now they're building more on their own. I thought, and they're not choosing to talk about it as much, is good. I will still find the criticism that they're not building up their own stars because there is too much. Like, there was a heated debate where people are just like, well, WWE is just their own. It's just these guys from Ring of Honor. But I think WWE build their guys up. Like Jon Moxley, I think as soon as he left WWE, he hasn't really changed character-wise, in my opinion. I think he's just stayed the same. Kenny Omega, he's doing the same thing he was doing in New Japan, being like, I'm the best wrestler in the world, blah, blah, blah. I think Hangman Page is like the only guy who's really been made by AEW, like in the sense that he's like changed.
I think Darby Allin.
Darby Allin's another one who's a good one, and I think MJF he hasn't changed his character, but he's built it up.
But he's got recognition. Actually, I'd argue Jungle Boy too. I think he has put on
Jurassic Express, definitely. But and I think Luke Harper as well. Brody Lee got changed a lot.
Brody Lee
got changed by
that match with Moxley. It was really fun.
I haven't watched it yet, but there's characters that people argue that WWE just made up of Ring of Honor, Evolve, and New Japan stars. They haven't changed.
Yeah, honestly, I think every fed or company or whatever you want to call it has people from other places. That's just kind of how it.
Yeah, well, there's inspiration. I'll say this with WWE: there is inspiration from what they do outside of the ring and whatnot, what they did outside of all this, that, and other. But they do make their own stars. They make people different.
Yeah, they do.
Like
100%.
No one can tell me in their right mind that the Daniel Bryan Yes movement was anything on Ring of Honor. He never did that in Ring of Honor.
They couldn't, but they could tell you that Daniel Bryan was destined to become a star regardless of the Yes movement.
Well,
I'd argue that.
I'd argue that too, but I don't think he would mean like the Wrestle 30.
He definitely wouldn't be what he is now without it. I wouldn't argue that.
But his WrestleMania 30, hit that was due to the Yes movement. I'll say this: I don't think he would have ever got that whole the Yes stuff. Was all WWE. I think they really helped do the whole Yes.
I can agree. WWE definitely makes stars, but I think every company does. I think
AEW doesn't do it as much, in my opinion. I think they've taken people out of independence and taken people from WWE, and I don't think they've taken them just how they were in WWE. The Revival just debuted, and I feel like
my one argument with that would be most of the WWE guys have stayed the same. Most of the indie guys haven't necessarily changed character, but have improved or been showcased better than they were previously.
I agree they've been showcased more. Yes, I agree.
Because, if you look at a guy like Darby Allin, his character hasn't changed at all, but the way that he wrestles and the way that he has been put on a pedestal, even if he hasn't won any titles or anything, he is an attraction to the show.
Yeah.
People watch for Darby Allin.
Well, there's people got in an angry debate with you like, WWE don't build stars, they just take it off the indie scene. You cannot tell me for a fucking second Tyler Black was anything like Seth Rollins is now. Seth Rollins with the Messiah.
Tyler Black was great, but Seth has elevated his beyond belief.
The redesign, rebuild, reclaim shit, all of Seth Rollins has done.
All that's wonderful. Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't understand the concept of being a star and then being built as a star, because it's one thing if you're bringing somebody in who's a well-known name, like AJ Styles, for example.
Yeah,
he was a star before he ever stepped foot on WWE. But building a star, I'm going to use a guy as an example who I think has Isaiah Scott, Shane Strickland, whatever you want to call him. Mm-hmm. He is being built as a star. The way that he is being pushed, I feel like he is going to be a champion sooner than later. Or Keith Lee.
Yeah.
Keith Lee was awesome in the independent scene, but he
Yeah.
has been made to look like $1 million on
Yeah.
WWE.
With WWE though, like my biggest thing is there's so many people saying, in my eyes with AEW, they haven't really changed the character and they haven't built too much around people. They haven't yes, Darby Allin. There's a few examples, but there's just not. WWE just make characters so well, and it's Vince McMahon. Like, everyone has a go at Vince, and they're just like, oh, he's an old racist, and he doesn't know.
I think you're right, but I think at the same time, the thing about AEW is they've kind of slated it, so these guys aren't they're developing. They aren't now because they will be soon, I think is how I take it. But I can see your point. I can definitely see your point.
Well, whereas WWE, they make their characters. They make the characters good. Like, I mean, The Fiend. I know that The Fiend's an idea, everyone was like, oh, but Bray Wyatt thought of that. That's not WWE, that's Bray Wyatt. I'm sorry, but WWE made Bray Wyatt. He was fucking around as a Husky Harris before WWE said, all right, we'll make you a cult leader. And then when
I've always been iffy on The Fiend, but I'll tell you this much: the work that the WWE and Bray have put into that character is really good.
Well, yeah,
it's really
I'm not saying the WWE just give like a good character to someone and says that's it, you make it. Every character and every person, they've had a back and forth with WWE to make it right. I know Daniel Bryan must have had conversations with like WWE booking teams about how he was going to be booked with the Yes Movement and shit, right? And I'm not disputing the fact that there's a level of Daniel Bryan himself has put the ideas in, right? But WWE just get it, in my opinion. Like their product, and I know everyone's like, oh, but sometimes the product's really shit. Well, yeah, everything gets like an on and off period, you know? Like, I think regarding COVID and the situation, I feel like to me that's just made me turn off the whole WWE thing at the moment. But there is definitely times in WWE wrestling where I'm waiting for the next Raw because I'm like, holy shit, that was great, you know?
I agree. And I think the one thing I'd argue is that WWE has handled this situation a lot worse than other companies have. I don't think that they are bad for it. I don't think they're horrible, but I think that the product for other companies has been watchable currently than the WWE.
I think it's just difficult to watch without a crowd, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so as well, but I think the way that AEW's handled it has been better in my eyes because the wrestlers in the crowd first obviously was helpful, but I just feel like the way that they approach it and the way that they use the fact that there is no crowd has been more appealing to me than the WWE has.
Well, if you're someone in chat now thinking about how you would book a segment, I suggest getting TEW. Now, there's 2020 coming out. I'm still waiting on that.
Available now.
It's available now, but I'm waiting for mods to be more applicable there before I try anything. Because apparently there's some bad things to it. Like the game's not as good as 2016.
I prefer 16, but 20 has its perks. There are some things in it that are really handy, but the game itself is really entertaining. If you have any interest in booking, whether it be fantasy or following the script of real life and seeing what changes, I'd recommend getting the game. There are so many mods, fantasy and real supported, and if you find any interest in that kind of thing, it is really a fun thing.
And shit can be fun. It can be very funny at times. I think what we're going to spend the next 5 minutes talking about now is different things that have happened in our TEW saves that we just found funny. I'll kick it off because Brooks, you were with me in the call when we were doing the game with you. But Daniel Bryan dating the wrong Bella.
Yeah, that was a good one. Daniel Bryan decided he'd had enough free and ended up with Nikki.
And we just found that funny. It was so weird because at the time I was like, no, this is wrong. And I was like, you know what? I was going to switch the names. I'll be like, Nicole, you're going to be called Bree. Bree, you're going to be called Nicole. So it's all good.
It's okay. We're not rewriting history.
Yeah, we're not rewriting history at all. And then I've had mods where I hire Vince. So I had to cheat a little bit to get Punk in because there was hiring vetoes and Triple H just didn't want to hire him and all that shit. But I was like, Triple H would hire him if the money was right, and the AJ Styles versus CM Punk match that I've been salivating over for ages was going to be the great match that I wanted.
Right.
And the day, and I guarantee, the day I clicked yes, we'll accept the contract, and the contract got confirmed, Vince McMahon dies the day after due to overdose. So CM Punk coming back to the WWE drives Vince McMahon to a fucking drug-fueled suicide. It was just, oh my god.
Another situation like that, I was booking with Tyson, and there was a story on the news that said Jimmy Snuka gone, ? And Tyson asked if he died. I told him no. And then we simmed over to the next day, and the next day Jimmy Snuka actually died. It was just so coincidental, because it was like, no, he's not dead. He was just leaving a company. And then the next day, he was dead. Just the chances of something like that are like second to none. And I thought it was pretty funny.
Well, a lot of things could happen. I mean, if for the people in the know about the whole Crude and Vicky Guerrero stuff, I fired Vicky Guerrero in front of Crude, and now she's been hired by CMML. So she's gonna become the best fucking. She's gonna get a lot of popularity there from just working there. It's gonna be fantastic. They also hired Bruce Pritchard, which is kind of weird.
Brother love.
But you can get things like for example, JBL. He's a bit of a naughty backstage influence, so he causes rifts between people and he makes people dislike each other. And so he made a simmering tension, is what the relationship's called, between John Morrison and quite a lot of people on the roster, including The Miz. Bear in mind they're tag team champions, John Morrison and Miz. And every time I tried to positively meddle with them to make them best friends again instead of this simmering tension, it backfired. So it went from simmering tension to strong dislike, and now it's a hatred. And I'm like, how do I get out of this? Because they are the tag champions, and it's like, imagine two guys, tag champions, who hate each other.
They have both tag titles and hate each other's guts.
It's like, oh shit, like, what are we gonna do? But it's pretty fun. It's definitely fun. I generally, if you're someone who's interested in fantasy booking and seeing what works, and there's a level of difficulty because you want to try and get a 100 rated match, and like you got to try and think how am I gonna book? Because you got loads of options with each match. You got like, I want this to be a slow build. I want this to be a spectacle. I want this to be an epic match. Like. And you can go in booking wise and try and do it like this is going to be a technical masterclass or all this, that, and other. So it's definitely something to have a look at. I think we can see. I think we sing enough praises.
I totally agree. I've spent so many nights just like losing hours trying to book, and it's great.
Well, it's funny. I mean, like yesterday I was playing it and I had Crude and I had Brooks in the party, and we had like. Vicky Guerrero, Crude was like, I want to do some mud pit wrestling, and he wanted mud pit Mark Henry to be a thing, and he wanted communist Christian to be a thing. Which I find hilarious.
He wanted William Regal to beat The Undertaker for the world title at WrestleMania. So,
shout
out to Crude.
But you know what the funny thing is? You can do that in the game. It's like there's no real restrictions unless you got give them creative and they say I don't want to lose to William Regal, but you can do it.
There's no restrictions, but people will hate you if Regal beats Taker. I promise Taker won't be happy.
Yeah, it's generally a fun game, and I cannot sing its praises enough. So I definitely tell you to go refine it.
Yeah, definitely look into it if you're into.
Yeah, definitely look into it. Aside from that, let's talk about your future projects, Jordan. What are you gonna do next? What is next for Jordan Brooks?
Right now, honestly, what's mostly on my plate is just looking ahead in all the companies I'm working in. Obviously in HXW, I have my big plans to, fight Eminence, fight Defiant at Blitz Warfare, which I believe we have a little something special going on there, in the Sin City Street Fight. And then, obviously, after that, it's looking ahead to Summer Mania 3, where I hopefully find myself on the card. For Honor Bound, it's really whatever they have next for. I'm a champion. Obviously, my plans are to hold my title as long as I can, and I just hope that my title reign, be it long or short, can be memorable in some way. And then for XWW, Worlds at War is next, and I'm main eventing against Team Nate West. Long story there, so I just kind of hope that that pay-per-view gets the reception that it deserves, and that's really the plan there. So right now it's just focusing on, the areas that I work and trying to make myself better. And that's really the best plan I've got.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is I think that's what everyone's future projects are. I mean, unless you're someone who's built and you're all right, I'm gonna make a show or some shit like that. There's really not a lot of future projects other than bettering yourself, and I think that's a very good.
I think other than that, the one thing I would like to do, and I guess I'm almost offering it up through the podcast, is if anybody would like to try and even just like improve promo wise or character wise and wants to like talk about it, I'd really like to help other people get comfortable doing not what I do, but like being their own character and promoting their own way. Because I find there are so many people who want to and just can't find it within themselves because they're too shy or they're too nervous or whatever the case may be. I'd like to help other people get to a point where they can come on to talk shows or where they can promote more consistently because they feel like they can. They don't need to feel like, oh, my voice isn't good enough, or oh, I'm too shy to be on a show and confront somebody else. Just, I want people to be able to just go. And I'd like to be able to help more people get comfortable in their character.
Well, yeah, fair play. Sounds like I don't know what else to say. Like, that sounds really good. I mean, if you want to help, go see Jordan Brooks. I think it's very nice to offer that olive branch to people to say, hey, listen, if you want help, I'm here and I can help you out with it. And I think that's generally quite positive. I think I'd like to offer the same if you want help from anything from me. I know I'm trying to take APH under my wing, and I don't know if under my wing's the best thing for him, but I'd like to think so. I mean, like, I don't want to. I've been here 2 years.
You're good at what you make it sound like you're not good. I mean, you've had success. It's not like you're like some big tank that's just sinking. You've done pretty damn well everywhere you go. I can definitely say it would be a good start. So
I mean, I APH, honestly, he wants to come on the podcast, and I'll try and do it as soon as I can. But like, he is definitely one to watch. Like, prospect wise, I've got 2 people that I tell everyone to keep your eyes on because they're gonna be fucking stars, and that's Crude and APH, hands down.
I'd agree. I think I don't know APH quite as well. I'd love to meet him at some point. Maybe even get to me for the hookup about HXW. But Crude, I agree with. I think Crude just needs to get out of his shell a bit more, and he'll be great. Honestly.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Now, we're drawing the show to a close. Okay, we're drawing the show to a close now. So I'd like to end this off with Mount Rushmore of core. Right, and Mount Rushmore of how you feel with certain things.
Okay.
Right? So, and real life. So, firstly, what era or which one do you put? Raw or SmackDown?
SmackDown.
Okay.
I've always
who is the Mount Rushmore of SmackDown Live and SmackDown as a whole?
First and foremost, I can't really give you any order, but I feel like Dwayne Johnson has to be on there because SmackDown is kind of The Rock's thing.
Well, it's 4 guys, no order whatsoever. Like, no order.
I'm gonna say The Rock, Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle. The last one's tough because I have a few people I want to put in there. I think I'm gonna give it to John Cena, but you could very well make the case for guys like Eddie, Benoit, or even like I'd go as far as to say AJ Styles.
Yeah, AJ for
his run.
For me, I don't want to be like, oh, this is my one, but I'll actually give it on this one because this is something I'm genuinely interested in. I think it's Undertaker, AJ Styles, John Cena, and fucking Rey Mysterio.
I think that's very fair. I think Rey is a really good call, and he definitely has to be up there somewhere close.
Edge is somewhere, but I feel he's just good everywhere. But like, and he did a lot more on Raw, and you could say the same for Cena. Like Undertaker, SmackDown was his home for a lot.
I'd agree to that. I'd probably even say I'd be willing to replace The Rock for Taker. I feel like SmackDown is kind of synonymous with The Rock in a way, but I feel like Taker really
he's like the dad of SmackDown, basically. Rock is, and I think that's great for him. But yeah, well, let's do it for Raw. Your Mount Rushmore of Raw.
Triple H, Shawn Michaels.
Good show.
Man, this stuff. I'd consider putting probably like. It's tough because I want to like. I'd honestly say Seth. I'd say Seth.
When I was gonna come in, I would thunder with you with Seth Rollins. I was gonna be like, "That's my guy." I'm gonna say it. Then you said it. Yeah.
Raw, and then I'd say 4 is. I'd say Orton. I'd say those are my 4.
So Randy Orton, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna piggyback and say mine, and I think it's Triple H, Seth Rollins. Fuck, it's just left my mind. Hold on, is it recomputing? What's his fucking name gone? His name's gone from my head. Oh my fucking god. Oh, yeah, Seth Rollins, Triple H. God, fuck's sake, it's gone out of my head. Who was it?
What are you thinking? What era?
Oh, I can't even remember. It's gonna come to me as soon as we stop recording. Seth Rollins, fucking. Oh Jesus, it's left my head. Oh, Jericho. Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Chris
Jericho, actually, give me Jericho instead of Orton. You're 100% right.
Raw my bad. I couldn't fucking think of his name.
Raw is Jericho.
Yeah, the Raw. His debut into wrestling with Raw as Jericho was fantastic. His return against Randy Orton was fantastic. Chris Jericho, I will say, is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, except for the AEW shit. Fuck AEW. No, I'm joking. But he's definitely one of my favorite wrestlers of all time because he can reinvent himself and he can make everything like his returns have always been great.
Yeah.
His returns have always
I'd argue Jericho is the most versatile wrestler of all time.
So mine is Triple H, Seth Rollins, Chris Jericho, and I think I'm just going to have to throw in Shawn Michaels as well. Okay. Then, your Mount Rushmore of real-life wrestlers that got you into wrestling. Like, what made you love wrestling through these guys?
So first and foremost, Shawn Michaels. He's my favorite of all time, and I can't say enough how he held my interest through my childhood years. Second of all, I'd have to give the credit to Triple H as well. Like, DX growing up as a kid was just
great.
The shit. There's nothing else to say. I'm gonna give the third one to Seth Rollins because he's what maintains my interest in wrestling mostly today. Like throughout his run in the WWE, I followed him closely. And then last but not least, I'm gonna say, just for the sake of being Canadian, that growing up, like every time I'd hear, Canadian wrestlers, it has to be, I'm going to say just the entirety of the Hart family, but more specifically Brett and Owen, because those two, like, I count them almost as the same people. But they were inspirational as, like, a kid growing up in Canada, just, like, hearing the story of how they were. Yeah.
I think, to piggyback in, my 4 would probably be CM Punk, Edge, Jeff Hardy, and Undertaker.
I think Jeff Hardy definitely is close to the top. Every time he won something, it felt like it was special.
He was definitely the fans' own. He was definitely the fans' own. Like, the fans just loved him. Like, I think it's just because of all the shit. Like, I think people would appreciate how much he gave to the company, where he threw his body and all that. Like, the documentary on the WWE Network about them was very intriguing. Like, he practically killed himself for the business.
Side note, I'm going to give an honorable mention to both Zayn and Owens because those two are just two of my favorites. And every time Sammy touches anything, it's like gold to me. So,
Sami Zayn, I think, should have had more. Like, I feel what they did wrong with Sami Zayn is they, instead of building up as his own guy, they built him up as this is the guy Kevin Owens hates.
Yeah.
And
I think that was.
It rubbed me the wrong way. Like, the matches between Owens and Zayn, phenomenal, best
every time.
But then they didn't really build him up as his own thing. They did it in NXT. NXT Zayn was untouchable. He was brilliant.
NXT Zayn was awesome.
Yeah, but as soon as he brought it to the main roster, I think Vince just saw him as the guy Kevin Owens dislikes. And I think when you, like, in booking Zayn in anything that wasn't Kevin Owens related, it just didn't work for me. It just wasn't, like, I don't think he had an idea what to do.
I think his recent run where he kind of got the IC title before they stripped him of it was really good. Not in the sense of, like, wrestling wise, but for him to finally have that moment.
For him to get the moment, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they I didn't like the faction because it was just 3 guys that I was like, these should all be world champion.
All these guys should be top tier talents in their own right, not holding on to each other. Yeah,
exactly, and that was just my thing. Okay, we're gonna go from the in real life stuff, and we're gonna go a bit more with core related. Okay, So, you're founding. So, who inspires you most now in core?
Number one, Nate West, without a shadow of a doubt.
Mm.
There's nothing else to say. I love that guy with my whole heart. The fact that he does all the shows that he does it for,
Yeah.
it's absolutely incredible.
He is.
Number two, I'd have to say, is Boom, because he's another one who's done so much for me, and that his dedication is admirable.
Yeah.
Number three, I'm gonna put Tone up here because I haven't known Tone very long. I'm not gonna lie to you, but the way that he treats everybody is so like fair and respectful, and the way that he has kind of made me feel like whenever something happens, regardless to how I feel, I can go to him. It's really like it's nice to have that support from somebody who is quote unquote bigger in the community, because I'm not the kind of person who thinks I'm a big deal. I don't think I am. But when I look at a guy like Tone and look at the amount of like support he has, knowing that he is like humble enough to take the time and talk to me when I need it is something that I really respect. And then number four, I'd say honestly probably Tyson, because he's somebody that just is very, I feel like, underappreciated by a lot of people in the community. He works really hard. He does all kinds of graphics, posters and attires and logos, and most importantly, he's just genuine, like a good soul. And his promos are really good, and he's been improving a lot ever since he started to come back from his last break and kind of closer with people that he feels more comfortable with. And I'm glad that I've been able to help him with his growth. And I feel like the fact that like those guys keep to it definitely is an inspiration.
I agree. So go over the four again. So Tone.
It's Tone, Tyson Brooks,
Yeah.
Michael Boom, and Nate West.
I mean, those are good four. Those are good four, definitely. Four hot prospects.
Prospects. Adam Richards, number one. I think the potential he has is unreal. I think if he could just break out of his shell and have that little bit of confidence that he needs, he could be something special. He's got that emotion. He's got a great look. I really think that Richards has it. Whatever it may be.
I think personally, he's already there.
I do too. I think if he just like continues where he's going and lets those kind of like chains of emotion that hold him back sometimes go.
I will say this to Richards. I don't know if he's listening or not, but I think he needs to not take as much responsibility for the actions of others, because he takes a lot of responsibility for like what someone else has done. And
I just feel like he lets too much hold him back. I feel like he himself is really good, and he lets too many other people kind of step on his toes and his momentum, for lack of words. I'm gonna say number two, as far as prospects go. I'd have to give it to, I guess, I'm gonna say personally. I'm stumbling on names here. Excuse me. But I think that Johnny Miles is another one that I'd just like to see work hard. I think he's been doing this longer than I have, but
I think he's been doing this longer than I have as well.
Yeah, but I think he's a guy who quite often has a really good look. He's been, very successful as far as winning goes, but he just kind of hasn't reached the point of like promoing and consistency where he can be on top. I think that he has like I said, he has the look, he has the potential, but he just like he is his own worst enemy in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Third, I'd say is okay. I'm gonna rephrase what I'm saying, because this is potential. I don't think he's a prospect in any way, but I think this is potential, and that's Preppy, because nobody acknowledges just how good Preppy can be when he tries. I think a lot of people misunderstand
True.
who Preppy is and how he works. Preppy's a busy guy. Preppy has a lot going on. When Preppy he's a good promo. When Preppy puts effort in, he gives it his all. And most importantly, he's kind of one of those guys that kind of like flies under everybody's radar. He's everywhere. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
If you look.
Yeah.
And so if you just give him the time and like the little bit of a kind of like kick in the ass, like, okay, go out there and do what you need to do, he can be one of the most entertaining people on any roster. And I firmly believe that. And then fourth, I'm gonna say Crude, because I don't know Crude very well. I talked to him like in depth for the first time a few days ago or yesterday, and I feel like he's the kind of person that is pretty easy to get on with, and he's got like a really good charisma in his voice and the way he talks and promos. Like even those 3 segments we were for the detectives, really entertaining.
I think he just needs confidence boost. I say confidence boost.
Yeah, I think if he finds the confidence and he finds it within him to be consistent, I'd be damned if he's not at the top.
Like
sooner.
he is probably at the moment my best friend in core. I will say that. I say best. Like the person I can take it back. Yeah, no, Zack Sanchez is my best friend. Meme, yes, best friend. But Crude is the guy I've talked to pretty much every day for the past month. I think. Like every day, and as long as you did it with him yesterday, right? He's generally very good, and he's funny as well. And I think his problem is, I don't think he feels he belongs in certain places. Like, I don't think he wants to try out for Honor Man because I don't think he belongs in Honor Man. Is what and I don't want to make that sound like anything bad on him, but he just feels like, yes, I could be an Honor Man, but I don't think I should be because I'm not that good. And he keeps on saying that. And I think if he doesn't second guess himself, he needs to understand he's great and he could be the best thing Honor Man. Honestly, like I know, like at the moment, I think his problem is staying up to promo for like the live shows like Hard Mic and whatnot, because God, it took him. You could tell yesterday he was tired when he came on to Extreme, but like. That is something that comes with growing up and when you can be an adult with most of these things. I don't want to say he's not an adult now, because he's very mature for his age.
Yeah, he is. He is very.
But like when you're a kid and when you're like when it's like you're under your parents' roofs and you have to do what your parents say, you can't really stay out. And it's a British problem more than anything, because like there's not a lot of feds that operate good in British time. There was one, right. But you know who, and it's difficult to get on those live shows as British people. But I think when you get older and you could be like more like, okay, Mum, you guys go to bed. I'm gonna stay up till like 2 o'clock in the morning to do this wrestling thing, and when that works, it's great. But yeah, definitely, he's definitely one to watch. Okay, last one in core. 4 pioneers. 4 people who have molded, in your view, molded core.
I'm gonna put Tone up there again. I feel like Tone, in a lot of ways, has molded. Maybe not. I mean, I would say Ka, but maybe more specifically, like E-Fed. In a lot of ways, I feel like he's a guy that almost everybody looks up to a certain extent. Yep. And I feel that he has definitely had a lot of good intention and opinion on Ka as a whole. I'd put Lions up there as well. I think Lions is
definitely
very influential guy, and I think that he's really good to talk to, just like to pick his brain. So I'd put him up there. I'd say also, honestly, I'd say Mercer's Liam Mercer is another who's done a lot, and I feel like his style is very unique, and he's pioneered a lot of not only a lot of like as far as character development, but he's kind of pushed so much into the brains of people of like how to improve his character, how to embody your character, and that's something to me that I'd say I respect a lot. And then honestly, I'm gonna say at 4, I'm gonna leave that spot blank because I feel like realistically, there's so many people pioneering new things all the time that it's more of something you have to keep the eye out for. I'd even argue that in that spot you could put Nicole, like Hale, because I feel like she was one of the people who pioneered, like for the women. She was one of the people made it.
Nicole
you know,
definitely. I think it'd be an interesting thing if Nicole were to ever want to.
I respect her a lot because I feel like what she did, she made it like not popular, but like she made it known like you can be a woman in this community and be popular and be quote unquote one of the guys, because wrestling is a very like not sexist business, but it's or area. But like a lot of times it's seen as a divide, and I feel like Nicole is one of those people who doesn't need to be, oh, she's the woman here. It's she's here to promo. She's working just like the rest of us are working for this show.
She's
and
great.
I respect.
I've talked to her very little, but she's very respectful towards me, and I think
She is very respectful. She's very kind. She's got a lot of respect because she deserves it, because she's one of those women who truly does work very to have a good cause and promote and isn't afraid to use her. And I think she's definitely probably who I'd put in that fourth spot. But I'd also say be careful for this list because it could change anytime. Because so many people come up with so many new things all the time. And this was honestly a more EFED-centric list. Because if you look over at Sim stuff, people are changing and making new edits and you know, evolving their game almost weekly. So
yeah,
I'd just say be on the lookout for people pioneering. Because there are so many of these people I respect and would love to, you know, eventually mix it up with, that I'm really glad that you asked me this question.
I think, okay, here's one I would argue, right? What about Donald? Because
honestly,
single-handedly, he had pioneered, like, when in real life wrestling, when something happens, like if you see when Finn Balor got into NXT and it was like, oh my god, there's a demon persona, loads of people said, okay, this is my demon form.
I'm gonna be the first to tell you this. What Donald has done is he is the first and the only person to make me enjoy a demon-like character in COD.
But
I hate.
He's not the only person. I mean, I love Enigma Soul, right? Hands down, he's great.
Yeah, I love Enigma, but I feel like Enigma is still human, if that makes sense. Like, he wears like the masks and the paint and whatnot, but like when you look at Donald, what he did with Rabbit,
I think the White Rabbit is generally the like. So like when the Fiend came out and you see all these people going like, okay, this is my fiending gimmick. This is me when I go fiend mode. I think Donald's White Rabbit is the only thing that's was one of the biggest things that's actually entertaining. Like
I agree, and I think he plays the character. I think him learning to promo with it has been really interesting, because at first when I'll be honest, I like when he came to HB, he didn't know how to. He said like I don't know what to do as this character.
I think my biggest, not quarrel, but like my biggest thing I'd like want to say to Donald is the Fiend having the White Rabbit wrestle normal shows isn't like, you want to keep it prestigious. I think personally, I
think he wanted to too, but I think the thing about the character is he's trying to make it so that that's who he is, because like it's such a tough get for like to switch in and out shows like COH. So I think what he's doing is he's just kind of as like his gimmick, but I think the way that he treats the character is really good, and I think the way that he has managed to slip into the character like almost like it seamlessly is really impressive. And I think I'm glad you gave him a shout out, because he definitely deserved it for that. And the fact that he's been able to play like 3 different characters with the same caw is really impressive. Because like obviously he has side caws, but the fact that he's been able to be both Donald, Phenomico, and
the White Rabbit is like the same person.
All at once was really impressive.
It is. Well, unfortunately, Bruce, I think that draws our time here on the podcast to an end. Honestly, me and you could, like, as you said, we could talk for like 5 hours, you know, just going on and off.
Yeah.
And just how we're probably going to talk a lot after the podcast ends, but we need to have episode 2, like we've all been saying. And yeah, this has been fun. And
it has. I would definitely be glad to come back for a second episode.
For everyone else, I will be. I'll be back soon. Basically, thank you very much for coming in to listen. Good night, and well, I say good night, good afternoon, good morning, whatever. Anyway, I'll see you soon, and yeah, episode 6 coming soon.